Hi and welcome to another gaming video, and in today's video I want to say that I think the 3DS range is better than the Switch, and when I was looking at buying a new console I could have gone for a Switch Lite or a Switch, but you know me, I'd prefer a Switch Lite, but instead I decided to go for a new 3DS XL, and the price of these things at the minute is ridiculous. Luckily I got this at quite a good price, but you can pay easily more for one of these than you can for a Switch Lite, which is really bizarre. So why did I go for a new 3DS XL instead of a Switch? Now the Switch, don't get me wrong, it's a good platform. It's been very successful for Nintendo. And if you've watched my channel, you'll see that, well, on quite a few occasions I've toyed with the idea of buying a Switch Lite, because it's handheld and that's my thing. And then I never bother. Now, a few months ago, probably about 6 months ago, I had the choice between buying a Switch Lite and a PS Vita, and I went for a PS Vita. Best decision I made. Looking at the game selection, I thought that the type of games on the Vita were more suited to me. And that is the same with the 3DS. Now, it's not my first 3DS, it's not even my first new 3DS. I've owned a 3DS, a new 3DS XL, a new 2DS XL, and now I've picked up a new 3DS XL again. The games on the 3DS... So first of all, let's talk about the games on the 3DS, because we're going to be sort of comparing those to Switch, etc. They're pretty good. I'm not saying that the 3DS is my favourite sort of portable platform, but there are some absolute gems on the 3DS platform. You obviously got things like Mario Kart 7, New Super Mario Bros. 2. One of the best games that I've played on the 3DS is Super Mario Land 3D. By far one of the best portable Mario games are going, especially when you put the 3D on. It just gives you that real sense of depth and everything. It is a fantastic game, and the games that were released on the 3DS were superb. A big step up from the DS range. DS games were fantastic, but the hardware limitations and the graphics limitations really did put a downer on some of the games. It was more of a platformer and a shooting sort of, well, series platform. Heavily relied on simple sort of touch games. If there were any big ports to go across to the DS, then they were really downsized. Racing games really didn't translate across to the DS very well, with the exception of Mario Kart DS. But anything like the Burnout range, it was really poor on the DS. If you move to the 3DS, even the sort of original set of 3DS consoles, so the 3DS, the 2DS and the 3DS XL, the increase in graphics and the increase in processing power meant that you could have better styles of games. So you had things like Asphalt 3D, superb racing game, and it felt like a proper racing game rather than some sort of cut down DS version. And then you got things like Super Smash Bros, which was absolutely phenomenal on the 3DS. And the Nintendo 3DS, in its name, well, it's a DS and it plays games in 3D. So the 3D in 3DS was for the stereoscopic 3D, okay, but it also kind of meant that you had better 3D games on it. There were quite a few Zelda games released for the 3DS, and they were fantastic. There are so many games on the 3DS platform that wouldn't have been available on the DS and wouldn't really worked anywhere else. So now, a minute ago in this video I said I wasn't actually massively impressed with the 3DS games. So why did I go and buy a new 3DS XL? Well, there are quite a few 3DS games that I absolutely love. So don't get me wrong there. I just don't think it had the biggest selection. I don't think as a platform it had such a big impact that the DS did. But being a 3DS, you can play all of your DS games on this, or on any 3DS, 2DS, etc. So the fact that the 3DS is backward compatible with the DS was a huge seller, and it's still a big draw for me. I like to play DS games on my 3DS, and now I've got a 3DS XL, that just makes it even better. These are fantastic consoles, and you can play I think probably about 3,500 games across the DS and 3DS range. This being a new 3DS, it does have the bonus of about, well, a massive selection of about 15 games that will only run on a new 3DS, so things like Minecraft and Xenoblade Chronicles, I think, to name just a few. And that is the reason I went for a 3DS over a Switch. I just looked at the Switch and went, there's not many games on there that interest me. I can't think of any games. I mean, you've got this new Super Mario Wonder, I think it is, coming out. That's the first game in the whole of the Switch life that I've looked at and thought, I wouldn't mind playing that. So when it came down to buying a 3DS like this, a new 3DS, or buying a Switch, I looked at the games that I would play on it. I looked at the games that were available on it. I also looked at the price of games. Now, fair dues, the Switch is the latest console, so it's got new games coming out, and older games are still fairly high priced. 3DS games, unless you're looking for some rarity, you can pick them up very, very cheaply. I actually often find that DS games, some of the more sought after DS games, or even the more popular ones like the Mario ones, they go for more than 3DS games do, because the DS was such a popular platform. So that's another reason I went for the 3DS instead of a Switch, is because games are cheaper. Homebrew is better. I don't think it's possible on some of the Switch versions, whereas installing custom firmware and playing Homebrew, etc. on a 3DS is super easy and absolutely stable. So I don't know, I'm not entirely sure what the point of this video is, but it's to try and explain why I didn't go down the Switch route yet again. And like I said, it's not the first time. I had the opportunity to buy a Switch Lite probably about 6 months ago, and I went for a Vita instead, and I'm very happy that I did. And once again, I'm very happy that I went for a new 3DS XL instead of a Switch. And I just do not have any kind of passion for the Switch. My son bought a Switch OLED a few months ago, which you'll find a review for that on my channel. It's a nice console, but holding it in my hands and me reviewing it and then doing a bit of research and looking up the sort of games that are on it, it's not there for me. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just super attached to the whole DS platform. Maybe that's it. Or maybe I like the backwards compatibility, because the Switch is the Switch, and it won't run anything previous unless you download it on, or re-download it, or repurchase it on some kind of store, which I'm not a big fan of. So there you go, I'm rambling a little bit, but I went for a new 3DS XL instead of a Switch, and I think it was I think it was a good decision for me. You might not think that. You might look at the 3DS and the DS and think, well, they're a bit too old and you can't get new games on them, whereas I want to Switch because I want to play the latest version of this, or I want to do Minecraft or Fortnite, or I want the latest FIFA. If you can get the latest FIFA on the Switch, I'm not entirely sure. Or, I don't know, the newer Mario games, and the new one that's coming out, Super Mario Wonder, I think it's called. So maybe you are more interested in newer games. Perhaps that is it. Perhaps I have no interest in modern gaming. So a DS that is capable of playing multiple generations is far better suited for me. So there you go. Link like, subscribe, enjoy.